I'm James, this is VR Bump, and today we're going to be talking about the potential of sports games in virtual reality. Whilst we talk about how virtual reality might affect sports games, we're going to be playing NHL Hitz Pro, the Gamecube version of the game, on the Dolphin emulator. It's worth noting that, of course, the developer of this didn't think that in 15 years in the future that a British guy would be sat there playing this game with a virtual reality headset. As a result, this game does have quite a few bugs, quite aggressive clipping and culling of assets in order to make it run fast on the GameCube, and will negate some of the points I'm making, so you will have to use your imagination on this. But what becomes immediately apparent if you play a sports game, or classic court-based sports game on the Oculus Rift, is how much of an impact potentially the head tracking can have on these titles. We're under the ice, it's where they store hockey players. People think they go home and have lives. They don't, they actually just live underneath the ice. That's why hockey players are so cool. But when I first laid this up, the most noticeable thing is the freedom of head movement, and how I can imagine this will affect games like sort of FIFA or the NHL, EA NHL games, because you can actually look around and see the full court whenever you want. Now, unfortunately, as I say, this being the GameCube version of the game and emulated, we've got the crowd popping on and off the screen. We've got players popping on and off the screen. Sometimes the goalkeeper doesn't even feel the need to be rendered. Look, disappeared. No goalkeeper, he's on holiday, and he's back to work. But if you use your imagination and imagine that the players are still there, what this will mean with actual design for VR sports games is that instead of having really janky little player maps and auto passing and sort of animations that try and hide the fact that you can't see anything on a screen, finally sports games will be able to be played in a more literal way, where you'll actually be able to look. Oh, let's get shot off. Oh, it's close. You'll be able to look into the distance and plan who you're going to pass to. Look out for a gap, or someone making a run, and be able to pass to them quickly and actually do stuff. There we go, laser shot in the back of the net, off to the side. The crowd go wild. The crowd's so excited that they're popping on and off the screen. It's that exciting. It's like Star Trek hockey. Replays are absolutely destroying this. Oh, there we go, we've got a bit of a disaster. I don't think we can score, because then it breaks the the emulation, and we lose all our textures, and the team's no longer sponsored. So I'll just reload the game and we won't score any goals whilst we're talking about this. But as I say, just the freedom of being able to look around is so huge. Now, on top of that, the 3D from the VR headset also allows you to far more accurately know where stuff is in the 3D world. So again, in a football game, if you're taking a corner back under the ice, if you're taking a corner in a football game, it can be sometimes hard to tell exactly where the ball is. Now, the developers get around that by making a really obvious ball shadow on the floor, and so you can kind of line that up. But again, it's a sort of workaround for how horrible a 2D screen is for these kind of sports games. With VR and the 3D, you can actually tell, you'll be able to tell exactly where the ball is above your players. Let's get a shot in. Oh no, we've scored, we broke the game again. I'm just on autopilot here. Oh, it might be okay this time. No. Let's just go to a different camera. So, another aspect that I think is really exciting is being able to look at the game from the stands. So you'll be able to play an entire game. Ideally, you'd be sat in the stands in the middle, but you could sit in the stands and actually look left, look right, check out the pitch, what's going on. Again, preempt moves, but also feel as if you're at a football match. Now, because esports are growing and getting so much more popular, I can imagine that you could have, for example, esports pro players playing on the pitch, and the audience could be fans of the pro players sat there and using the Consumer Rift headset. You could shout stuff and the players would be able to hear you. You wouldn't need a virtual crowd or a fictional non-playable crowd. You could actually have a crowd made up of real people watching the game, watching the pro players play, and jeering and moving your hands and throwing stuff on the pitch just as you would in real life. So it's just, I just think it's going to be absolutely extraordinary. Of course, there's no reason why real world sports they won't be able to use sort of real-time laser scanning of the pitch. Of course, this might be a little bit far off, but or real-time video capture at first, 3D video capture, allowing you to be in the stands and really feel as if you're at a football match. I think that's a bit off before that will be move away from being a gimmick to something that will be better than how you watch on TV. But just having the control of being able to choose what you want to look at without some guy editing what you can see will be a massive draw for a lot of people. But back to the land of gaming, I'm just although this is essentially broken, what with it being an emulated GameCube game, it just really gets me excited for the potential of sports games with VR. And I really have sort of moved away from playing sports games. I haven't played any of the recent FIFA games. Last time I really played them was FIFA 2012 because it just felt so overwhelming and so awkward. Part of that, of course, is just the general mechanics and design of the game, and it's a shame that we moved away from this really fast-paced arcade type sports game, which ironically these arcade sports games in many ways are more conducive to a realistic play than the more detailed sports games you find recently. But I think what VR might do is make or allow developers to design sports games to be far more intuitive and move away from these really abstract, complex ways of trying to make the game have more options to people that want a sort of hardcore football simulation. And I think we're going to end up with something that will be a really nice, accessible game, but still have depth. Another thing that strikes me as something that I think could work really well is say like holographic display. So, for example, if you play FIFA, you know you've got stuff like lineups and formations or substitution changes. And to do those decisions, you need to go through the menu, see if your players are tired, fatigued, and what have you. Go through options and pause the game. Now, there's no reason in VR to be stuck to this sort of one view on the screen. You could have a sort of holographic display off to your side that you look at, or that you bring up and then look at whilst you're playing, that shows you player stats or announces that this player is getting tired, and has a contextual thing when you look at it, a contextual thing that says, okay, you can sub the player off immediately without having to interrupt the gameplay. You could literally look left, contextual button, push it, go back, and all whilst you're playing, you could do all this management seamlessly. There's so many things that VR is going to open up for these sports games. But I think that's pretty much it, really. I just got really excited by the potential of sports games in VR. Unfortunately, this is running absolutely awful. My fault for picking a bad game to be emulated. This is a game that I actually own, and I do have a GameCube, so that's one of the reasons why I picked it. But definitely check out NHL Hitz if you haven't played it before, because it's a superb game. And as soon as there is a VR sports title that actually does proper VR support, I'm going to be on it like a fly on dung, because it's going to be good. But thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please click the like button. Please subscribe to the channel by clicking the subscribe button. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, do a dance, and I'll see you in our next video. Goodbye.